A lot of people here on the channel, they do not speak Italian, they don't understand Italian, but thanks to the channel, thanks to Juventus, there are some words, Italian words, that are part of our vocabulary, our football vocabulary. Scudetto, mercato, plusvalenza, unfortunately. But since yesterday, Juventus, they offered us a new word that will go viral, that will be well known, understood by everyone, and unfortunately also remembered forever. The word vergogna, which means shame. Yesterday was a total humiliation. Yesterday, Juventus as a whole, Juventus, they disrespected us, the supporters, the tifosi. You know it if you watch the video in the morning. You know it if you watch the pre-game of the watch-along Juventus Empoli in Coppa Italia. I was asking for a win. I was asking for a convincing win. I was asking for a lot of goals. A night of fun, a night of celebrations, a night where we would love Juventus, a night where we would not forget, because never we will forget that PSV elimination, but at least a night where for 90 minutes we just could focus on this project, on this Juventus. They offered us totally the opposite. They did even worse than the most negative fan could even imagine. Worse than the worst and most ugly nightmare. We are out of Supercoppa this season. How? After leading against the non-existing Milan. We gave them the Supercoppa. We woke them up because of ourselves. We were out, not even playing that final. We are out of Champions League. And how? After leading 2-1, after coming back 1-1, after totally disappearing in that second half, after not playing that first extra half. We are out of Coppa Italia. And how? Today we'll not go towards frames, statistics, no fancy editing. The team after yesterday, they don't deserve my time to edit a video, to go towards analyzing the game. There is nothing to analyze. There is absolutely nothing to analyze. We are still there at -8 in Serie A. But not because of us, because of the other ones, because they are throwing away all their points. Look at match day 26. I tell you immediately, only the Scudetto win would partially make me forget about the vergogna that we saw this season. Of course, it will not happen. I already told you before the Empoli game. I repeat you here, even more convinced, and I was already 100% convinced, the Scudetto will not happen. The Scudetto will not happen. When I'm telling you that only the Scudetto would partially make me forget about the vergogna that we saw yesterday, it's because only a miracle could do me forget everything that I saw this season. A lot, too many things that are absolutely not at the level of the people that have the opportunity, an immense opportunity, to wear the black and white shirt. This team can't win the Scudetto. This team cannot win the Scudetto. They don't understand what it is to wear the black and white, to play for Juventus. The words of Thiago Motta, we will go through in a second, were explicit, were really clear. This one is worse than Maccabi Haifa. I insist, it's worse than Maccabi Haifa. You know why? Because back then, it was the very end of a failed reboot. Back then, it was a few weeks before the entire board left. And a board that is leaving doesn't happen from one day to another. That means that there were already problems that the mass was not able to see. But it was the end of a project. And Maccabi Haifa was the bottom of that end. Today it's even worse. You know why? Because today we should supposedly be at the start of a project where we changed everything. We changed the board. We changed the sporting management. We changed the entire technical staff. We changed 16 players, something that never happened before. And on the 26th of February, we are hitting a new low that is even worse as Maccabi Haifa, because we are taking everything into consideration. A new project that never arose, never was born. We never assisted to a new project. We never could say that it worked, that there was some hope. We were sometimes illusional. We thought that something could have happened, but nothing really happened. Look, I am sorry. I tell you, I am sorry. I take my responsibility. I want to be accountable. I would have signed Thiago Motta. I told you, even before he was trendy. I said, this is the guy that we need. I would have signed Douglas Luiz. I backed him up. I was extremely happy to sign Douglas Luiz. I'm asking for forgiveness to the fans that believed in me. I was wrong. I have no problem to say it. I was wrong. And I put my face on it today. Today it would have been much easier because I have a million things to do to not record that video. But I put my face on it and I'm asking for forgiveness. Something that I was also expecting from the management yesterday. That didn't happen. I was expecting it already after Benfica. I was expecting it especially after PSV. I was expecting it yesterday. It didn't happen. Look, yesterday Thiago Motta did thousands of bad choices, starting with the starting lineup, trusting some players, not making subs at halftime after the first half that we saw was criminal. You cannot not sending a message to the supporters, to the team, not making any change at halftime was a real crime. Not being able again to share the importance of the game, to enter the game. It's not the first time. Huh? It happened against Cagliari, against Stuttgart, against Lecce, against Fiorentina. Napoli, second half where we totally disappeared. It happened against Benfica. I already told you. Again, it happened last week against PSV. This is what hurts me even more, that it happened 7 days ago already against PSV in an elimination game. You win against Cagliari 1-0 where you miss a lot of opportunities, where you don't play that second half again. And 1 week later, after it should have hurt you so much to be eliminated against PSV, this is how you enter. This is how you play 45 minutes. Again, I don't want to enter too much the details of the game because the game speaks for itself. But he did two things right. The first one was technically putting Locatelli in at the 54th minute for Kelly. Not because of Kelly, but because he understood that there was an opportunity to put a bit order in a totally not organized team. And also because Locatelli would have been the one that touched the most ball after we saw that Kelly was totally free yesterday and absolutely unmarked. That's the first thing. The second thing were the post-game words of Thiago Motta, which I agree 90% with. Not 100% because there are something that I totally not agree with Thiago Motta. Look, the words were shocking. Shocking words from the coach yesterday. It looked, from what I see, from what I hear, from the non-verbal communication yesterday, he was about to cry at a certain moment. It really looks like it's the end. I told you always that the Coppa Italia win would not have been decisive for me at the end of the season to judge 24-25 season of Thiago Motta, of Giuntoli, of the players, of Juventus Football Club, of the ownership. It would not have been enough to win the Coppa Italia. What would have been enough to re-evaluate a bit was a qualification, an easier qualification to the top four, and especially progress, improvements. Also the fact that some players that were signed in the summer were starting to perform at high level for the price that we paid them. To see continuity, to see an idea, especially with a 1 game a week. But that Coppa Italia that I was not taking into consideration to judge at the end of the season is now a huge big factor. Not because we won it, absolutely not. But because we didn't win it and because we are eliminated, not even in semi-final, but already now today in quarter-final against an Empoli that was playing with a B team. They were taking the Coppa Italia as a rotational game, a game with an opportunity to rotate players, to play with their youth team. They were players from 19 years old. And we were playing with our best team. It's a shame. It's una vergogna. Look, one thing is sure, and we will go towards the words of Thiago Motta that I told you looks like a goodbye, looks like it's the end. But Thiago Motta is not longer untouchable for Juventus. The future is at risk even if he reached the top four. Top four is not enough. What I was expecting is super important. Progression. Seeing that the locker room is with him. And I don't know. I don't know if the locker room is with him. And that's the worst thing that can happen at a certain moment of the season. What did he say yesterday? Shame. I feel ashamed for what we saw in the first half, and I hope that the players are feeling ashamed too. We can make mistakes in anything, but not in our attitude. Our attitude was shameful. Our behavior was shameful. I failed to make the players understand the importance of this match, of wearing the Juventus jersey. And that's why we are not in the semi-final. Look, when I'm telling you that I agree 90% with the words that he said, I agree with what he said. He should feel ashamed. The players should feel ashamed. He didn't, or he couldn't, share what it was, that Juventinità. He said the criticism, it will be really harsh, and it should be really harsh. The Tifosi, they were even too kind with us at halftime, at the end of the game. They whistled us, we heard the whistle, but they could have been even more. I agree. Yesterday, post-game, before hearing the words of Thiago Motta, we were saying exactly the same. I wrote immediately, before hearing the words of the mister, I wrote, be ashamed. That's what I wanted to hear from Thiago Motta after that game. I said it, that's what I want to hear. I want excuses from everyone. It came from Thiago Motta, it came from Perin, not from the management. He said, I expect a reaction from the players immediately, because again, I feel ashamed of what I saw from the team. And here I have a question. What team? What reaction will we see against Verona on Monday? I have my really huge big doubts. We have hit rock bottom. We need to apologize. Today we played against an Empoli side that have rested some of their regular players. Talking about mentality at this point means talking about understanding where you are, what you need to do, and that you have to earn your place here every single day. You can't expect things without giving anything in return. What is he speaking about? Who is he speaking about? I want to come back on that later when we finish reading what we are saying about Thiago Motta. Today we cannot expect anything because we gave nothing. We made the one mistake that is unacceptable at this club, and it is our behavior, our attitude. Do I still believe in this team? Yesterday he didn't say yes, he didn't say no. He said, I believe in the technical aspect because we have quality players. I am convinced of that. But quality alone is almost never enough. You need other things to compete, especially the right attitude. That's the main thing. Since I arrived, it's the first thing I've talked about. It's non-negotiable. That's why I feel ashamed. Missing a pass, a control, a shot, a goal, it's not the problem. What I cannot accept is the attitude and behavior on the field. But ultimately, the responsibility is mine. And I agree with that. The responsibility is his. And on the 26th of February, yesterday, is too late. If you were not able, at the 26th of February, with 16 new faces, to let them understand what it is, Juve. To let them understand, even if you want to go before the attitude, what it is, your style of play, your vision of play. Yesterday it was a total confusion on the field. We have a problem. If you were not able yet to transmit that Juventinità, I'm not sure if you will be able to transmit what it is. If you were not able to explain them after a week of elimination of PSV, what it was to enter that game, how important it was to go through, I'm not sure if you will be able. Or it's the players that do not understand, or you are not able to understand, and probably it's the both of them. Or probably also because you are not yet backed up enough by the management. I always told you, last year I always told you, pay attention when blaming one man only. Don't blame one man only. Blame one man, but also look at 360. Look at the bigger picture. If you believe that changing a coach because of the way of playing will solve the entire situation, my man, you are extremely wrong. It's not enough. And I don't want to blame Thiago Motta only. He has a huge big part of responsibility, like the players have, but also our ownership. And yesterday I was expecting, seriously, some people like today, Beppe is coming and saying, I'm sorry. We tried the project, it's not working. Or at least telling us, we believe in that project. It's not acceptable what we saw. It's rock bottom. We feel ashamed. The words that Thiago Motta told us yesterday, if I would have heard it from the management, probably today I would have been in a different mood. not in a great mood, but in a different mood. But there is one thing that let me think so much. It's when he's saying, what is the message for the players? And he's saying, le cose uno se lo deve meritare e non pretenderle. Invece c'è qualcuno che pretenda senza dare. Things, people need to deserve them and not asking for them, not expecting them. Instead, there are some that are expecting them without giving. And here you open a huge big thing. Who is he speaking about? He's speaking about the players, because the question is, what is their message to the players, not to the management? And he's saying some people are expecting without giving. Who is he speaking about? The first three names that are reported by the match, but also probably the three worst one yesterday on the field, are Dusan Vlahovic, that was extremely a flop yesterday, that do not deserve to be the most paid player of Italy, of Serie A. Yesterday, a total disaster. Total disaster. Always doing the wrong movement, the wrong run. Vlahovic has been a really huge flop. Koopmeiners is a huge big flop. And here I'm asking myself, is there something that we don't know? Why is Koopmeiners still playing? Is it obliged to play with Koopmeiners because it's an investment obliged from someone above? That is not even the choice of Thiago Motta. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm asking myself. What about Nico Gonzalez, the third one? That was a huge big flop yesterday. It was a disaster. A disaster. But again here, these three men should have been out at the first half, and Thiago Motta is not doing it. So the blame is on him as well. Yesterday they were all bad. The only one that I want to save is partially Thuram. That was the only one that was really running with a lot of energy, that scored a goal that is fantastic, and that unfortunately will always be linked to that huge elimination of yesterday, but he's also at fault on the first goal that we concede partially. Nico Gonzalez the worst, Koopmeiners the worst, Dusan Vlahovic the worst. Who else do I want to save in the game of probably how Locatelli entered without any pressure from Empoli, of course. Bad. Yesterday, really bad. This 4-1-4-1 is not working. We continue with Thiago Motta. At least this is what has been reported by all the journalists. Okay, good. Forza Thiago. But please, Thiago, go your way and change that 4-1-4-1 that is absolutely not working. Work with what you have at disposal. Means if you say, I believe in the quality of these players, let them perform. We need to go into the top 4. And even if I don't believe in it. Perin said yesterday, hopefully after the elimination of PSV and yesterday against Empoli, there is a fire that will wake up inside of us, that will burn inside of us. 12 games until the end of the season. Win the 12 games. Win the 12 games and then we speak about it. Ciao Juventini. Grazie, forza. Juve.